Today, we look on audience-driven approaches to digital success in newsrooms. I'm happy to talk with an expert about this. Laurel Wennen is project manager at IFRA, the World Association of News Publishers. She has managed 4 rounds of Table Stakes Europe. That is a program supported by Google News Initiative to help publishers to grow their digital revenue, starting with changes in the newsrooms normally. Hi, Laurel. Welcome to this talk.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. Let's just start. My first question is about Table Stakes Europe in general. You have nearly 4 years of experience with Table Stakes Europe, the World Association of News Publishers, and Table Stakes inventor Doug K. Smith worked with more than 50 publishers from all over Europe. What excites publishers most about the TSE idea?
I think one big part about table stakes is that it is applicable to all publishers, no matter your size, your background, or specifically where they are in the digital transformation process. If you're just starting, it can work for you. If you're kind of in the middle or maybe farther along, there are still so many lessons and things that publishers can take away from the program that I think are incredibly helpful. Another aspect is that, the tools and methods that Doug teaches and that Table Stakes kind of instills, they allow publishers to take them in the way that best works for them. You don't necessarily have to do it exactly this way or exactly that way, or use every single tool. You can really use it to the best way that works for your company. And I think that flexibility is incredibly helpful.
Can you say what is easy for the newsrooms to implement and what rests a bigger problem in digital transformation?
Yeah, so table stakes is an audiences first mindset, aside from being, change management and performance driven. And I think a lot of times, seeing the audiences that are in their communities are one of the easier steps to take at first. Everyone has the foodies and the families and different things like that. Of course, a more business type publisher may have some different audiences, but I think in general that's a pretty easy starting point for most to at least identify a few of them. I think where you get into the more difficult pieces of digital transformation, depending on your company and where things are, getting everyone on board is not necessarily the most easy task for everyone, especially, the different business units of a publisher all have different goals and ideas about what needs to take place. So kind of getting everyone on the same page and together is certainly a challenge, as well as, with digital transformation, if you're really trying to go for lasting change, that can take time. And I think that's, the patience can be sort of a difficult piece for publishers to have, but sort of taking it, piece by piece, results by results, that can help. And of course, any table stakes team that you talk to, you'll likely hear about the stop doing or do less methodology, which of course, in any transformation, there are likely things that you're doing that take a lot of time, but maybe don't necessarily give high yielding results. And so trying to get in the habit of reevaluating those, how you could do them differently, less, or in some cases, if it's even the best to stop doing that, that can be quite a difficult conversation and a difficult piece to work through.
And on your website, you stated that even more collaboration between news organizations is essential and rest essential for success. What is your advice regarding this issue to original publishers? Should they maybe cooperate with their competitors in the market or something like that?
Yeah, I think, for regional publishers and local, there's a lot more of a community there than people sometimes realize. There's a lot of shared challenges. One of the things that a lot of table stakes teams have said is that it's actually even just really helpful to know that they're not the only ones who are facing this specific challenge or doing, this certain workflow a certain way. It's nice to know that there's people out there who share those and then can be a sounding board for challenges or ideas or best practices. Of course, in terms of competitors, that's, up to publishers how close they want to get. But of course, there are still always things to be learned from others. And so I guess advice would be, just to be open to reach out, to ask for advice or ideas, to find other groups that are similar to you or that are different.
But what rests a big problem in news industry is just to reduce churn of digital subscriptions. What do you think? What helps most when you look on the experiences of TSE participants?
Yeah, I think focusing, like table stakes on audiences-first journalism is a really great foundation for reducing churn. Table stakes is all about identifying and serving specific audiences. So producing journalism that helps, this group navigate their needs and interests. And so, of course, newsletters are one way to do that. I think it's when you take the time to understand and really engage with an audience, it helps to foster that connection and habit. And so if they're seeing that content and that subscription as value to them through that engagement, then there's a higher likelihood that they will stay. And I think the other one is, use your data to better understand them, but to also kind of see what their patterns are. If you're testing out different subscription options or things like that, be willing to, in table stakes, we would say design do. So just test something, see how it goes, see how audiences respond, and then go from there, whether it's trying something different or just making some smaller tweaks to really use that data to help inform those decisions.
Thank you so much, dear Laurel. Thank you so much for these insights and the interview.
Of course, yeah. Thank you again for having me. It's always fun to talk about table stakes.